In this movie, we're going to continue to work on the lips. So let's zoom in a little bit and then press the spacebar key to reposition the image. One of the things that we can see here is that we have a highlight that kind of goes across the lips. And let's say we want to bring out a little bit more of the shape or color or tone. How can we do that? Well, there are a number of different techniques that we can use, as always. But here's one. Press Shift-Command-N on a Mac, Shift-Control-N on a PC. Let's name this lips tone. Take our blend mode to good old soft light, and then fill this with this neutral gray color. Now, why are we going to do that? Well, let's click OK. Well, with this layer on this blend mode of soft light, what we can do is we can paint with black and white, or we can use our burning and dodging tools in order to darken or brighten. Let me show you how this works. I grab my brush tool, and I'm going to paint with white. I'm going to paint with white here, and you can see that I'm brightening the lips. I brighten that top lip up. Now, that doesn't look good, so I'll undo it. What happens if I paint with black? I'll go ahead and paint the same area. Now I'm darkening that top lip up. Now that doesn't look good, so let's undo it. More, I want to deconstruct how this works, right? Or we can grab one of our burn and dodge tools. So go to my burn tool. I'm going to bring my exposure way up so we can see this, and I'm going to go ahead and paint across the image. We can see I'm darkening, okay? What about the other side? I'll go ahead and select my dodge tool. Again, same thing here. I'll bring this up so you can actually see it. When I paint across this, I'm brightening. Interesting. So we can burn and dodge on this neutral layer in some pretty unique ways. And the nice thing about that is it gives us flexibility. So let's try one of these techniques. For example, we'll grab our brush tool. We're going to paint with black, pretty low opacity. Want our brush to be nice and soft, so no hardness there. Great. And then make my brush a little bit smaller here. I'm going to take this down even further. I'll go to 30%. Now, as I do this, this isn't going to initially look good. And I'm going to exaggerate this effect a little bit. And I guess I need to ask your permission to exaggerate this. Do you give me that permission? I hope so that I can kind of illustrate how this works. So I'm just going ahead and painting around the edge of the lips and darkening those up. And then I'll go up the top up there a little bit, darkening this one up. And again, it doesn't look great, but it's okay. Press the X key. I'll paint with white. I'll bring some white along this area here. Make my brush a little bit bigger. Lower opacity. Press 2 to go to 20%. And just bring in that brightness area. And then press the X key, and I'll paint with black on the inside of the lip. And so again, we're just trying to create a little bit of shape, right? And it doesn't look good. It's not very good at all, actually, for that matter, yet we're going in a direction. And so I'm going to go ahead and darken these edges a little bit more here. The nice thing about this particular technique that I'm going to show you is you don't need to be exact with what we're doing. So what we're going to do is go to our Filter Blur menu and choose Gaussian Blur. And then if you look here and I lower the pixels, you can see these are all my little brush strokes. When I increase this radius amount, it blends them together. It smooths things out a bit. What I want to do is try to find the sweet spot where it's nice and smooth. I don't see huge gaping lines or strong lines, I should say. I'll click OK. I'm going to lower my opacity significantly. All I'm looking to do is add a little bit of shape here. Here's my before and after. Let me zoom in on that. It's looking pretty good right now, right? Here's our before and then after. Subtle yet significant. It's working with what we have, but it's exaggerating that, bringing it out a little bit more. Now, of course, the intensity of this effect depends on how far you want to go with the lips, also the color and tone that you have, etc., etc. There are many different ways we can work on lips. This is just one technique, and I think it's looking kind of interesting. My own preference is going to be to have a pretty low opacity right about there. So here's our overall lips. Zoom in so you can see the before and then after. Okay, nice. Well, that just brought a little bit of the shape out. And again, I like a pretty subtle effect for this particular image, so I'm going to lower that. All right, well, what about the color and tone? Well, let's go ahead and do that one in the next movie.